This is Editing Rachel here. Just before I got into the video, I just want to give a quick trigger warning for this video. I am talking about my eating disorder. If you suffer with an eating disorder or you have suffered and you feel this video would trigger you, please switch off. Please go and watch one of my other videos or go and watch somebody else's channel that's going to bring you a lot of joy and happiness. I really do not want to trigger anybody, but don't forget to come back next week and listen to all the other videos that I've got going on for you. So I just wanted to put a quick trigger warning here for you to make sure that you know I am going to be talking about my eating disorder in detail, and I don't want to upset or trigger anybody who might be going through a very similar or the same thing. So if you want to carry on watching, please do. If you don't, come back next week or tomorrow or whenever my next video is. Subscribe to find out. Okay, let's get into the actual video.
Morning, I hope you're well. Welcome back. This was going to be a tea and talk Wednesday, but I made a lovely cup of tea, nice peppermint tea, and then my dad called and I drank my tea while I was talking to my dad, so I got no tea. So it's just a talking Wednesday. Hi, my name is Rachel. I'm a solo mum to one, and on this channel I do a bit of everything. I'm not niche down, I just do a bit of everything. I talk about my life, my journey, what's happened, what's happening. I like saving money, so I talk about how you can save money and do different things. I like to talk about lots of different stuff, so I thought I'd start a YouTube channel just talking about lots of different stuff. And I recently hit my 1,000 subscribers, so I went back and looked through some of my old videos and some of the comments, and there were people that were asking me to do certain videos. I started doing them last week where I was talking about how you can learn different things for free or for cheap if you want to start a new career or learn a new hobby, so go and check that video out if you haven't already done so. But in today's video, a lot of people have been asking me to talk about my problem that I've had with food. I've not felt ready until now, and to be honest, I still don't feel ready. I still don't. But I'm going to talk about it anyway, because it might help someone, who knows. So let's get into it, shall we? So my problem with food all began when I was 16 years old, when my then dance teacher told me that I needed to lose a little bit of weight because I wasn't looking like all the other girls. Now back then, that's what dancers had to be. They had to be this really slim, skinny type of person. These days, dancers come in all shapes and sizes. It doesn't matter how big, small, tall or short you are. If you want to dance, dance. I don't do it anymore. I just don't feel it's my passion anymore. I still dance when I'm cleaning the house or doing little things like that, but I don't actually dance professionally or in any kind of dance club anymore. It's not something I want to do. Anyway, I'm digressing. Let's get back to it. When she told me that, it started my downhill journey of problems with food, and I've had problems with food ever since. So I started off just being really healthy and eating more fruit and veg, and then I lost a little bit of weight, and then I just kind of got addicted to losing the weight, and that is a problem that I've always had. Once I lose a little bit of weight, I constantly feel like I need to lose more, or I want to lose more. I get that dopamine rush, a little bit of weight and I'm looking good, so I just keep going and keep going and keep going. When I was 16 years old, I became bulimic. I used to eat a lot of food very quickly and then be very, very sick. I was still at school at the time. I was in my last year at secondary school. I would throw my lunch away. I wouldn't eat it. I would come home to my mum, and she would still sort my lunchbox out then, and she would see that I ate all my food. But really, as I passed the bin in school, I would just throw all my lunch away and just leave a little bit left in the lunchbox for my mum to think that I was eating properly. I was very active back then. I used to leave school at 3:15. I used to catch the bus into town, I used to dance for a couple of hours, and I used to go to gymnastics for a couple of hours. And when I come back, I used to say that I would take my food up to my room because I had homework and studying to do and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I used to do. My parents were none the wiser, not their fault whatsoever. They just thought that I was doing really well. I had lots of energy still, when really it was all a fake. And I did that for a couple of years, and then I would get really hungry and I would gorge on everything, and then I would make myself physically sick. I don't advise it. It's horrid. It's absolutely horrid. I lost a lot of weight. It wasn't until my mum actually found me being sick that she kind of kicked my butt, really, and she sat with me every mealtime. She made sure I ate. She made sure I ate healthy. My mum dragged me out of that the first time I developed an eating disorder. It was my mum that dragged me out of it. I didn't get any professional help. My mum just said, back then, that's what we did. That's what we did back then. We didn't have the help that we have now. So, you know, we were talking a long time ago.
Back then, my mum dragged me out of that eating disorder, and I did get out of it, and I put on the weight again, and I started getting comfortable in my own skin. I've always gone on diets. I've always tried to eat healthy. I've always then gorged, and I've tried to eat healthy again. But since I was about 17 years old, I've never made myself sick again. So that was my first journey of my eating disorder. From there, my weight fluctuated all the time. Sometimes I was putting on a few pounds and I lost a lot of weight, then I put on a few pounds, and so on and so forth. And that's just the way it kind of worked for a little while. It wasn't until 2018 when I was going through a court case to fight for my son, and I was going through divorce. I was a mum, first time mum, trying to understand what was going on, as well as fight for my son, as well as go for a divorce, as well as finding myself homeless. I felt like I lost complete control of my entire life, and the only thing I could control was food. And that started the downhill journey and the most horrendous journey that I mentally had to overcome. When I was pregnant, I actually put on 4 stone. So during my pregnancy, my ex-husband kicked me out of the house. He filed for divorce before he actually told me our marriage was over. So he filed for the divorce in the morning, and then that evening he told me that the marriage was over. So he actually filed for divorce before he told me. And then he kicked me out of the house, and I had to be back home with my mum, and I was 6 months pregnant. 4 weeks after that, I lost my dance school business because I couldn't cope with it all. So something had to go, and unfortunately my business was the one that actually went. So I was dealing with a lot. Where some people, when they go for a breakup, they go out with their friends, they go and socialise, they drink, they do whatever they want to do. I was pregnant, I couldn't do that, so I ate a lot, a lot. And I put on 4 stone weight when I was pregnant with my son. The day I had him, I had a McDonald's, and that was the last McDonald's I've had since the day he was born, which has been years. Absolute years. I've not had a McDonald's since. And I decided then that I was going to lose weight. So once I had my 6-week check and I was absolutely okay to start working out, I started exercising again, just once a day, early in the morning before my son even woke up. And that was at like 5 o'clock in the morning, because my son usually woke up about 5:36 because he was still a baby. And I started working out. And then I also joined Slimming World, which didn't last long because they told me not to work out, and I've always worked out. So I decided to quit Slimming World and try and do it by myself. And I started losing weight pretty quickly. I went from a size 18 to 20 down to a size 12 in about 2 months. And then another 2 months, I went down to a size 10. And then I should have stopped there, and I was quite comfortable there. All my old clothes fit me again. And then I slowly lost more weight and went down to a size 8. And that's where it all kind of went wrong. There was something that triggered in my brain that I needed to lose more weight, and then needed to lose more weight. So I started working out 3 times a day. I then started waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning to do my first workout. I would sleep in my workout clothes. So my alarm would go off. I would wake up, I would work out. About 4 hours, 5 hours later, I would do another workout. And then when it comes to nighttime, I would do my 3rd workout of the day. This consisted of weight training, cardio, and yoga, or Pilates, or something like that. I was then minimizing my food really gradually, that by the time it come to March of 2020, I went down to a size 4 clothes. So I was a size 18 to 20 when I started my journey. And then by the time I decided that enough was enough, I was in a size 4 clothes. My dad and his wife took me to the biggest Primark in the UK, which is in Birmingham, to have a look round. And I found that I tried a size 6 on and it fell off me. So I tried a size 4 on and it fit. And I felt so proud of myself that I actually got to a size 4 and not realising what was actually happening to my body. My dad then shouted at me in Primark and he said, just F eat. Obviously he swore, but he said just F eat. And my dad's wife was also saying, something's wrong, you need to have a look at yourself. My brother at this point told me to have a look in the mirror and actually see what the hell is going on. I wasn't listening. I was just like, whatever, you're just jealous, you're just this, you're just that. Or mental, disordered with food. That's all it ever was. I then did a little bit of research because I got curious. And the research that I did, someone was talking about how her eating disorder stopped her from having a period.
And I realised that I hadn't had a period for 2 years. I hadn't had a period for 2 years. And I realised that my organs were actually shutting down to allow my heart to keep pumping because I wasn't feeding myself enough. At that point, I was on about 600 calories per day, working out 3 times a week. I was sick. I was very poorly. It felt like a light switch went on, and I finally decided that I needed help. So I called the doctor. To be honest, I'm lying. My son at the time did something really minuscule and I shouted at him. And I really shouted at him and I made him cry. And then that was a light switch that I'm angry all the time. I don't have a period. My teeth were going grey. My hair was falling out. I could see my ribs. I could see my collarbone. There was a problem. So I consoled my son. I apologised to my son. And I called the doctor. And I made an appointment with the doctor to say, I think I've got an eating disorder. I need some help. And I made that first step. And I felt really proud of myself that I did it. And I promised myself that I would never shout at my son like that again. Do I still lose my rag with my son? Absolutely, I do. I'm a human being and I'm a mum and I'm a normal mum. And I sometimes lose my rag with him. But I also make sure that every time I do, I apologise for what I've done and said it was nothing to do with him. It was my fault and I made the mistake. I need to learn from it. Next time I get like that, call me out. And he does. He calls me out on my stuff all the time. If I say something wrong he doesn't like, he'll call me out on it. And I love the fact that he can feel that comfortable to do it. And I made a promise to myself at that point that I would never shout at him like that again. And I would never allow food to be the reason why I shouted at him. So that was the point. That was a turning point. Then it all went a little bit wrong. So the day I had my appointment with the doctor to talk about my eating disorder and to get some help, Boris locked us in. Yeah, so it all got cancelled. All of it got cancelled. They couldn't rearrange it. Everything was all up in the air, as we well know what happened. And it was a choice. It was a choice of me either carry on as I am in lockdown and possibly lose my life or fight. I decided to fight. So I decided to eat. And it was the most mentally challenging thing I've ever done in my life. I went to Home Bargains on my own. I was in there for about 45 minutes and trying to buy food. I really struggled to buy any kind of food. And I knew, because I was at the point I was, eating healthy food was not going to cut it. I needed to eat the junk. I needed the burgers, the crisps, the sweets, the chocolate. I needed to feed my body what it's been craving. I went from a size 4 to a size 14 in 6 months because I was just eating food. Because once I allowed myself to eat, I couldn't stop eating. I just couldn't stop because I was so hungry. Eventually that kind of subsided and I kind of found my point where it's like I wasn't as hungry anymore. And then I started switching my diet then from eating all the junk food to start incorporating more whole foods into my diet. But it has been a journey. It wasn't until the end of 2021 that I found myself at a size 10 to 12 that I felt comfortable. I'm now still at that size of a 10 to 12, but I don't feel happy in my own skin anymore. So it's a bit of a battle. It's a very big battle. If you are suffering with any disordered eating, seek help. Trust me, seek help. Don't go through what I went through. It's horrendous. You have to constantly fight something else in your brain that's shouting and screaming at you to not eat that food. The voice is constantly saying to you, you're fat, you're ugly, no one's ever going to want you, you don't deserve to eat. You made a mistake with my son. You don't deserve to eat. You need to punish yourself. That was the voice inside my head that I had to fight every single day. And it's a voice that I still have to fight now. Not as often, but every now and again, when I'm at a low point, I have to fight that voice all the time. And I fight it by eating. So now I'm at a point where I'm roughly a 10 to 12 size in clothes. I'd rather be a size 10, a comfortable size 10. There's nothing wrong with how I look now. I don't feel toned. I don't feel comfortable. I'm obviously getting older and my body is changing anyway. And, you know, I'm looking at it going, what's this? What's happening here? Where did this come from? So, but I'm embracing it because I'm really lucky that I'm 40 years old and there's so many people of my age that have not reached 40. The fact that I get to experience it is absolutely awesome. So I love getting older because I'm actually embracing the fact that some people don't get to my age. So I'm really happy about that. But at the same time, I'm really struggling with my body changing and understanding what's going on. So I'm grateful, but I'm scared at the same time. Anyway, I do want to lose weight, but I'm going to do it in a very healthy way. I'm not going to listen to any voices in my head. I'm never going to go back to having an eating disorder. It's something that I'm really aware of. I remember in October 2021, my period restarted. I just had a bit of a fight with my mum and I went to the loo and I saw my period has started and I ran down because I know you hate me right now because you just had a fight, but my period started. It was the first period I had in a very long time. And the fact that that period come without having to go on any contraceptive pill, and it's happened because I've restarted my body. I've eaten enough. So my body is restarting itself and it's able to start, the organs are starting to function properly. I love it. It was such a great day for me because all that hard work, all that challenging mentally and physically that I went through, seeing my body change and putting on weight and changing all the clothes, seeing that happening was really tough. But then when my period started and I knew that my organs and my body inside was starting to kickstart itself again because of the work that I'd done, was a reason for me to keep going. So even now, I do not have an eating disorder. I still struggle with my body, but I feel like I struggle with it in any normal way that any woman would, especially of a woman who's turned 40 and things are starting to change. I still struggle. I am on a weight loss journey now. I'm going to try and lose some weight, but I'm going to try and do it in a very healthy way. I'm going to have a very high protein, low carb diet. I won't fast because I've been advised that if you've had an eating disorder, fasting is not going to be good because it could trigger you. So I don't even want to risk doing that at all. So I'm not going to be fasting whatsoever. High protein, low carb diet with lots of strength training because that is what somebody of my age should be doing. That is my journey. It's a bit of a rambly one. It's a bit all over the place, but it's still something that I'm trying to understand myself, that I actually went through it. I feel that with me, I go through things and was just very much like, well, I went through it, let's move on. And I sometimes don't actually sit there and process what actually happened, how I actually felt. I feel like sometimes I'm just so grateful that I got through it. I just want to keep going forward. But I feel that sometimes it's really important, especially with like my eating disorder, my divorce, my death of my nephew, all of those other things that has happened in my life. I feel that it's really important that I do take a step back. And that's why I've started journaling, so that I can actually understand what happened, process what happened, accept it, be proud of myself that I actually got through it, and then move on. So if you are suffering with any disordered eating, eating disorder, or anything like that, please reach out to someone, whether it's a close friend, a family member, a doctor. There's lots of eating disorder online help that you can get. I will try and link some in the description box below. If you're thinking of losing any weight, do it a healthy way. It has been the most mentally challenging things I've ever had to do in my life. I had something to fight for, which was my son. But even if you don't have kids and you don't feel you have something to fight for yourself, because there's life left for you to live. And don't let this horrible disease take it away from you. Beat it, fight back. If I can link anything in the description box below for eating disorders that you can reach out, then please do check that out. If you want to reach out to a doctor, a family member, a friend, anything, reach out now before it gets too late, because recovering from it is hard work. Worth it completely, but absolutely hard work. That is my eating disorder.
If you have any questions or anything else, then do drop it in the comment box below. Everyone's journey is different. I'm just sharing mine. If it helps you, great. If it doesn't, that's fine. And if it has triggered you in any way whatsoever, then please do reach out and go and get help, or I'm really sorry that I triggered you. But all I can say is be kind to yourself, look after yourself really well, eat healthy, nutritious food, but don't stop yourself eating that cake or that cookie or that chocolate bar, because they're really bloody good. So I hope that you enjoyed listening to this video. I'm sorry that it's been a bit a rambly one. It's been a bit all over the place. I didn't really have anything written down on what I was going to say, because I knew that if I didn't do it, I wouldn't do it. So if there's any other videos you'd like me to cover, but then do let me know in the comments below. I'll only do the ones that I feel comfortable talking about, or I might do them in the future when I'm comfortable talking about them. But do let me know anyway. Even if it's not about my life or anything else, then do let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like button if you did enjoy this video. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you are yet to subscribe. I hope whenever you're watching this, you are having a good morning, good day, or good evening. And I will see you on the next one. Bye, guys.